Come on. We're live. There we go.
Yeah, we're live. We'll do it live.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite videos of all time.
I think of that like all the time.
I don't know what that is.
All right, everyone who's watching, make sure you like the stream. Get this video out to so many people. Hello, everyone.
What was their bet today?
Actually, I don't know if there was. Oh, no, there was. It was how late will we be today? The usual, my guess is 11 minutes. And then someone was just like, because I gave a really rough estimate. I was like, guys, it could be from like 6:30 to like 7:30.
Yeah,
I was like, anytime between then. So someone's like, yeah, he said he's probably going to be a little late or like a little early today. So we're good. Right on time.
Right on time.
5 minutes behind schedule. Right on schedule.
Nice.
I forget the right way and the wrong way to say Nagini or Nagini because I know I'm supposed to change what I used to say, but now I don't know what I used to say. So which is the right one?
Nagini.
Nagini, yeah.
Nagini.
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 Wow, I'm actually teaching you.
That's all I remember.
Nice.
It's great.
All right, Nagini.
Yeah, it is
What about
Nagini.
him?
That's the hard G.
Well,
Wait, him?
why did you want to know?
Interesting. No, nothing. I just wanted to know how to pronounce it when I'm thinking about Harry Potter all day long. In my head, I want to pronounce it correctly. Wait, is Nagini a boy?
I knew you were going to ask that because I said he.
Yeah, you said he, and I was like, I think of her as being a girl.
Why?
Well, I don't know. I assume
Was
it's
the pronouns in the book?
I guess, but I've
Nagini uses she, her pronouns.
yeah, because I've never seen. I can't think of a time where it came up. We don't know if she has kids or any a snake lover,
I just thought
but she might have a Voldemort
I'm just thinking
lover.
Voldemort goes in and out of Nagini, so that's why I
Okay.
think of it's a guy.
It's
No, I mean like he can transform to a snake, so I just automatically think.
wait, what? Are you making that up or
I'm not. Isn't that how he survived as a baby? He said he took over Snake's body.
Yeah, it was.
Okay,
it was
yeah, like in the
possession.
past, like
Whatever,
possessing.
same
Yeah.
thing.
No, yeah, you're pretty much it.
But you're saying like transform into a snake and
He
but-
probably could.
But that's the
I
thing.
don't
We
understand.
actually don't know.
He does all
might
his
be
other
able
stuff, but he can't transform into a snake.
That's so basic.
Yeah.
But no, you're right. You're right. And if they go to a class, because McGonagall teaching her class, that is a lot of transforming objects.
Really good point right
But is
there.
it also transforming yourself into things?
I think that's like high level.
Because that's what
Voldemort
she's
should be able
doing.
to do.
yeah.
Or is it a certain like gene?
Well, human transfiguration, you can do human transfiguration. It's very difficult. Moody transfigures Malfoy into a little weasel.
Weasel, right?
And when she transfigures, she doesn't I don't think
'Cause
she
she's an
transfigures. She's
animagus.
an animagus, so she just transforms.
So we've always kind of wondered, and even when Harry saw from the eyes of a snake when Mr. Weasley got attacked, that we're kind of led to believe was Nagini or Voldemort in a snake form or Voldemort in Nagini or something along those lines, but we didn't get a lot of clarity about it. So we're still kind of left wondering what the deal is here. But you saying that is just interesting because you said it with such confidence, and here I am in all this turmoil, not knowing the.
Yeah, 10 minutes of turmoil.
No,
on
but
Nagini,
this is just a
Nagini.
glimpse into the turmoil I experience all the time. You know what I mean? You're about to go to bed. You're just on the toilet. You're waking up in the morning just thinking, is Voldemort a snake? Is Nagini the only snake in his
Welcome
life?
to Danny's life.
Can
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Who was Harry seeing through the eyes of with Mr. Weasley, and why?
It's really fun when you finish a series and, well, it's obviously really fun right now because you guys are guessing about everything. But it's fun when you finish the series, too, about thinking about different, like, headcanons that come. Someone gave me a headcanon a few days ago, and it literally kept me up at night trying to think of, like, how to write, like, a fan fiction to it or, like, how to incorporate something like that because it was so fascinating. So that's going to be fun when you guys are finished. People dive into fan theories and all that kind of stuff. So, Nagini. It is Nagini.
Nagini.
Also, I mentioned the Harry Potter Mecca a few different times. And I
did.
just want to say, I should probably save this till the next chapter.
It's
But
off the beaten path.
it
Hard
is-
to get to. They were gonna move it, but then they didn't because they couldn't.
Wow, you remembered everything.
I'm
Holy
dreaming
smokes.
of this, John. We're already planning a
Yeah,
trip to
that's
Scotland.
where
We don't
I
even know
need-
where
Yeah.
we're going yet.
That's why I need Kristen here. 'Cause
Yeah.
the two of you nerding out.
No, she didn't necessarily know where it was. So this location is Shell Cottage. It might sound really underwhelming, but it is the location where Dobby died, because the real life
Whoa.
filming location people have gone to, and I'll show you pictures of it. This is where I want to go more than any other place.
This is fascinating.
This might look stupid.
Like as an honor, like a little ode to Dobby, you go
This
to
is
where the
actual
spot.
beach.
Oh
And so there's
my
a tombstone,
goodness!
and thousands of people leave stones there, or they leave socks or something else. So
That
much
is
so
brilliant.
they've done that so much so that the authorities have cleaned things up and have tried to move the location of it, because so many people frequented and visited this that it was getting overwhelming. Like stones and rocks were everywhere scattered along this one section of the beach. But this is the filming set location of it. And
That is such a cool idea.
I know.
Is there a cottage there too, or is it just the
I don't
beach
think so. I think it's just the beach. They probably-
So people go to the beach and do the. Wow.
I know it's probably like underwhelming, but when
We got to
watch
bring
the
some
movie,
socks.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness! I have the perfect rock to bring too. I don't know why I have the perfect rock to bring. It's the rock on my dresser. Have you ever seen it?
I know why you have a lot of rocks home to bring. It's called the room of requirement that we didn't clean up.
Yeah. I'm learning to throw things away, but they're all being saved for a purpose, and even if I don't know it, it's for Dobby's
Yeah,
grave.
exactly. And
I can't believe you said I have a rock to bring.
you didn't even know why he was saving this rock, but it
And
seems
now
like a seer.
I know.
Now he knows he was saving him
Yep.
for this reason.
Maybe it's the rock that they're looking for too.
Ooh,
Stone.
nice.
So when we plan our Ireland and Scotland trip and all that, and our King's Cross trip, we'll have to 100% go to this location.
Where is it? It's in England or Scotland or something? They do all the filming there?
Yeah, I think all the filming is
Okay,
there.
nice. Only because sometimes it's scary, these filming things, like they film all over. They run to Eastern Europe for random scenes or something.
Yeah, it's Freshwater West in Pembrokeshire.
Oh, that sounds British as anything.
I know. It's the most British sounding thing I've ever
Pembrokeshire.
heard.
Oh, also, I haven't taken a sip yet because we were waiting.
Yes, we have
Yeah, I've been
sake.
waiting too.
Get it, sock for Dobby.
Thanks, Ryan.
So we will raise,
Nice one.
we will raise our glasses. Thank you, Ryan. Raise our glasses to Dobby.
To Dobby.
Poor dog.
That was a sad moment in the books.
Yeah, that's the. It was brilliant. You got sake without even realizing, and then Ryan mentioned the pun. It was so perfect, and for some reason, I could picture that because
Yeah.
that's the thing. I'm wondering what the restrictions as a free house elf. How far do you apparate? And I've always wondered with apparation. At the beginning, I said, "Can you only go to places you've already been? Because you need to be able to picture it and be familiar with it, so you can like kind of aim where you're going." But then it'd be like Jumper. And
Yeah.
then you could just take a trip straight to the opposite side of the world and go to Asia and get sake, you know? So
Yeah.
Dobby might be doing that on his lunch hour. Never know. And
anymore.
so,
Aww.
wow.
That was the most torn up that I've seen you during the live read.
Oh,
of-
yeah.
of
I know,
Dobby's
I
death.
didn't-
That was it can't because it comes from out of nowhere, and it's
Yeah.
so sad.
They're
it's so
safe.
tragic.
They're gone. They made it
know.
out. And then all of a sudden you're like, wait, what the? Yeah, that was,
Yes, wait, we didn't react to Dumbledore or Sirius.
No, Dumbledore
Well,
maybe a little bit.
definitely
Sirius,
to
definitely
Dumbledore a
not.
little bit, but that was more like somber because
Yeah.
it just, I don't know.
But we knew it was like slowly building.
And because it was like what felt like we haven't done the drawn out part. And again, the sadness for me, it comes from watching other people be sad too. So then that was like 3 chapters of processing the death, watching it through Harry's eyes, everyone else's eyes, Hagrid's with him, and like all this stuff. It was drawn out. The funeral, And we haven't gotten any of that yet. This is just the shock value immediate thing. So
I think also it's just something about like a creature that like loves someone so much they'll do anything for them.
I know.
so pure.
Yeah, that's probably the word.
It's like a little dog.
We're like Sirius annoyed us. Not that he deserved it.
Yeah, for whatever reason
And
we
then
didn't connect with him the
Dumbledore
same.
annoyed us too.
Wow.
He
I
doesn't
wouldn't
give
sum it up like
answers.
that.
No, overall, no. I'm just broadening it.
Well, we are definitely going to talk about Dumbledore's annoyance in this chapter, or in the Deathly Hallows chapter, because what should he have told him? What shouldn't he have told him? But let's get into it.
Dobby didn't do anything annoying.
I know. Well, he did
Actually,
lots
that's
of
not
annoying
true.
Lots
stuff.
of
So
annoying
everyone
things.
that was annoying died.
But Dobby was annoying, and then he was like redeemed.
Yes.
He was like cute annoying. Like he was
Yep.
annoying at the beginning, and you're like, oh, he's kind of like growing on me. He's kind of cute now. And then, right, as this
Yep.
shining
I know.
moment.
So sad.
I know we have a mug.
And I feel like that growth was so cool for a lot of reasons, but it almost felt like because we viewed him like a kid almost.
Yeah.
And then there was like a maturity, and it feels like that came from the freedom and from Harry, kind of like that influence.
Yeah.
Was kind of cool. So it was just very endearing. Good character.
Yep. So,
Little arc.
yet again, we'll raise our glasses to Dobby.
To Dobby.
And welcome to the
Oh.
podcast. I'm John.
Jen.
Danny.
And Kristen's not here today. But this is Harry Potter and the first time readers. I'll spill some drink for her.
This is Dobby's mug. Not
Yeah,
even
wow.
more sad.
Mm.
You try to steal this from me.
The first time I put that mug out, I was terrified because I thought there was a tombstone on it. Because usually in those mugs, there's like a little gravestone that says, "Here lies Dobby, a free elf." And
Oh my goodness.
When I
Wait,
first
is that
pulled
what
that
his
out.
gravestone says?
yeah.
Oh my goodness. That is wow. Dobby is free, a free elf.
Okay, so let's talk about
That's
just
funny.
both of these two chapters, which is the Deathly Hallows and Malfoy Manor. But give me a very quick summary of the Deathly Hallows chapter.
All right, let me open it up. Sorry, I was still mourning Dobby. I wasn't.
I can give a summary of this one too.
Oh yeah, you could go for it.
All right, so pretty much all that happens in this chapter is they have a long, not a super long, but a long discussion on the Deathly Hallows. Ron and Hermione don't think that it's real. And they are lambasting Harry for being such a believer in it. And with Harry, everything falls into place. He's like, it all makes sense. He thinks he's descended from one of the Peveril brothers. He connects it to the Gaunts. He connects the ring to the Gaunts ring. And he thinks he has two of them. He thinks the ring is in the snitch. And then that kind of goes, and about a few weeks pass, and Harry's still obsessed with this. He's mad at the other two for thinking that Horcruxes are more important. And then all of a sudden, Ron plugs in the radio, gets the radio running. You get Potterwatch, and then Potterwatch is great. Potterwatch ends, and then Harry says the V word, and all hell breaks loose.
Oof.
I know. And then this chapter ends with telling them to get out of the tent. So it's brutal.
Yep.
But
Pretty bad.
I know. There is a first line in this that I always thought was kind of interesting, and it's like maybe a side question, but it says this. Then they're talking about Luna. And they say, then she'll be in Azkaban, I expect, said Ron. Whether she survives that place, though. Loads don't. She will, said Harry. He could not bear to contemplate the alternative. She's tough, Luna. Much tougher than you'd think. She's probably teaching all the inmates about rack spurts and nargles. Which is probably true. But I was thinking, I feel like Luna, oddly, would last really well in Azkaban. But out of everyone that we've seen in the entire book so far, who do you think would have the best? Who would last the longest in Azkaban?
Weirdly enough, now that you're saying Luna, she's pretty high up there.
Yeah.
Because I feel like she's comfortable being by herself. She's not scared of things without reason.
Like death doesn't scare her either, though. So I
Yeah,
feel like
true.
she like the Thestrals and any other thing. She's like, oh yeah, this is a Thestral. And
Everything's so matter of fact.
It's all like, I don't know if I would. Maybe I don't know if I'd say that necessarily. I think she's just very like open-minded about everything. So like, and everything, the creatures are fascinating because like it could be something like, what was it that bit her? The gnome?
Garden gnome.
Yeah, like, and it was like, oh, let's celebrate this. It's
Yeah.
so great. Like,
Yeah,
I
true.
don't know. I'm just trying to think of how she could just be. And then what's her darkest fear? I don't even know because it feels like she wouldn't even have a fear. She just like kind of goes with the flow of things.
And she
Like
actually has had a bit of a tough life too.
Yeah.
So she wouldn't be a prime, like, I don't know, person for a Dementor, really?
Yeah.
But that's the only part that I'm wondering. Is she good with a Patronus? You know, like, how comfortable would she be? Well, if she doesn't have her wand, she couldn't do it anyway. So you just have to grit your teeth and bear it, I suppose. And that's the Dementor element is the only part I don't quite get.
I feel like Luna could like befriend a Dementor.
Yeah. If anybody could do it,
It would be
It's
her.
Luna.
Yeah, I'd be like, oh wow, you're just so like airy today.
Wow.
That gray is showing.
Yeah.
It's a nice color on you. I don't know.
So
That's what I could
true.
picture.
Yeah, I could picture that.
Honestly, I think that Luna and Neville are two sides of the same coin, but one is the optimist and one's the pessimist. I feel like if you put Neville in prison, he's almost the same as Luna. He doesn't have a ton of like maybe super happy memories, but like his happiest memories are with his friends, like the DA. That's why Luna and Neville kind of took the call. But Neville in prison would probably cave in on himself, where Luna is a bit more like optimistic, and she would kind of like not thrive, but like maybe thrive.
Yeah.
Start a whole thing where she's like talking to all the Dementors, you know, making them not Dementors anymore. They're
She
like,
gives them all names.
Yeah,
and,
exactly.
like, yeah.
I know. That's what I'm saying. She befriends them.
yeah.
And I guess, yeah, like she's kind of living in her own world. It's hard to picture any of the other kids being good in Azkaban.
I feel like
I'm trying to think of other characters in general.
I was thinking Ginny, and then of course, because she's tough. And then I thought Hermione, because she's smart, and maybe she could outwit like things going on in there. And then Harry has had like many encounters. Ron would be the bottom.
Ron would struggle. He's
yeah.
not getting full meals. He's like, I'm
Oh,
out.
yeah, so true. I'm curious, like, Sirius was so good there. That's the weird part, too, because you can be so strong or, like, sly or something about the way Sirius handled it, partially because he was an animagus, but I'm curious if there's anyone in that direction. And then I'd love to hear more from Hagrid's perspective, because he spent, what was it, a month there?
Yeah.
And I would not think that he would be good at it, but being half giant might help too. That might help shield him from Dementors in another
I never
way.
thought about that, yeah.
And then I'm just curious how a house elf would do there in general.
Ooh, yeah.
Any of the magical creatures, I feel like would be okay. But I'm just thinking of the humans. And yeah, I don't know. I feel like all the Weasleys would have trouble because they have so many happy memories, they don't even realize it.
Yep.
Compared to someone like Harry or Neville or
Yeah.
Luna. That
And
have, you know, a
Harry,
little
Neville,
more
and
going
Luna,
on.
like those people, I think they have maybe more hope than happy memories. Like they do have happy memories, but they also have really tragic memories.
Yeah.
Sad things. So like the Dementors could take advantage of that. Once they've sucked out their happy memories, they're only left with their sad memories, and it would drive some of them crazy. But those people, like all of them, like they've gone through their sad memories. They've kind of processed through that. So I'm like, maybe it would actually affect them less because like they'd be stuck with their sad memories, and it would, you know, cast them into a deep depression. But maybe they'd be able to process through that in a better way than like Ron would. Or I don't know if Ron would be able to deal with that very well at all.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true.
But on another point, Harry is obsessed right now, and he's like very convinced of a few things here. And so he says, or Hermione says, "Yes, that's all very interesting," said Hermione. "But Harry, if you're thinking what I know you're thinking, well, why not? Why not?" said Harry, abandoning caution. "It was a stone, wasn't it?" He looked at Ron for support. "What if it was the resurrection stone?" Ron's mouth fell open. "Blimey, would it still work if Dumbledore broke?" So that's when he cuts off, and they're thinking that the resurrection stone is in the ring, in the gaunt ring. Do you think it is?
It could be. It seems like a good story to believe.
Yeah.
Because Dumbledore needed Snape to help, like, break it? Or...
Mm-hmm.
But I wonder also if, because he, like, wanted to break the Horcrux of the stone, could it, because he wanted to break it, whatever spell that was, have it do the opposite the ring? Like, if the stone was to revive you, you know how his hand started to, like
instantly it would kill
instantly.
Oh, like set it as a booby trap, a little sabotage or something?
I don't know. I'm just kind of
No, it's an interesting idea. I
where,
like that little theory.
It's supposed to do this, but once you put a spell on it, it's going to suck the life out of you, and then it gives it to someone else. I have no idea.
Well, that's a really great point, because
interesting.
Can Voldemort have cursed one of the Hallows, like, unknowingly? So let's say it was the ring. Wouldn't there be what would the significance be of Dumbledore putting this ring on and it simultaneously being a Horcrux and a Hallow? Like, would they cancel each other out? Or, like, even what Jen's saying, would it reverse the thing? Or, like, was the curse on Dumbledore's hand, if this is a Hallow, was it because of the Hallow, or was it because of the Horcrux?
Yeah, that's why I don't fully buy the ring thing. I didn't think of it, so when Harry first said it, I was like, oh, that's really interesting. But just the idea of it being a Horcrux and a Hallow feels too much. Like, the Deathly Hallows feel a little too big. Then I'm like, could they also be a Horcrux? It almost felt like there's not enough magical space left in the object. Almost just the way I imagined it. But then again, we have suggested other magical objects could be Horcruxes, like the Sword of Gryffindor. And wouldn't that same logic apply? Yeah. So, I don't know. Something about it is weird.
It's a certain type of magic that he couldn't seem to stop, though.
Yeah.
And he needed Snape's help. And it's dark magic, so that's why it all, like, kind of adds up to me.
Yeah, no, you're right. It does add up that there's another layer we don't understand to it. And it being a Horcrux and that stone, the resurrection stone.
That is kind of complicated, which I'm not sure I fully believe, but... But then that would be interesting if he put a Horcrux in the resurrection stone, and then it's cursed him forever, so he can never actually use the resurrection stone.
And then it would mean that the Horcrux and the stone are destroyed now?
No.
Which
Maybe.
is either?
The Horcrux, yes. The stone, I don't know enough about.
Yeah, I guess that's a weird thing too. Like, if it's destroyed, it's just split in half. With a Horcrux, we kind of are thinking so. But if it's the stone, maybe that's a little different. Where,
but like, cause
I don't know.
It's just weird that he was wearing the ring. Like, I feel like it was to show something. What, defeat? I guess. Like, I broke the Horcrux, or like, was it to show something else?
It's a great question. Why did Dumbledore put the ring on in the first place?
Was he wearing it when he died?
Yeah, I thought so. I think so.
I'm just curious about the whole thing, because then if it was the resurrection stone, well, he died, so it must not have been working, or like, was there some power left in it?
Yeah, but I feel like it's like if you possess it. That's how it works.
Honestly, I don't know. Or do you?
I thought you
need
had
to use it on someone else.
That's what I thought.
So it can't be used on you. Okay.
But
well, I don't know. I started to get the idea that Dumbledore was dying, and then maybe the ring was keeping him alive. If it was the resurrection stone, but it was broken, so it wasn't really working to the full.
This is really far fetched. But could he die? They bury him and everything, and because he had the resurrection stone. Later on, he comes to in another form, or the mirror or something, like maybe.
Like, that's why we can see his eye in the mirror or whatever it is.
Like funky, yeah.
I mean, I like the idea. I just can't wrap my mind around it, you know?
Is Dumbledore still alive somewhere? That's a great question.
Dobby's eyes are not. Were they blue? I don't think so. That was Dumbledore's eyes.
I think he's got green eyes, and Dumbledore, I think, does have blue eyes.
I know. And is it possible Dumbledore is alive somewhere? I want to say
I don't-
yes.
I mean, yeah, like,
I like
I
hope.
think, yes, it's possible in the same way that Voldemort was alive in the journal, or how we know for a fact Dumbledore has a painting. So,
And
in
the
ways
fact
like that, sure, but
Grindelwald or whatever his name was telling him, like, there's so much you don't know. Kill
Yes.
me. Like, that made me think, oh, wait, they had a plan, Dumbledore and him. I really think so.
and there's a lot we don't know either, and we want
Yeah.
to.
That's the thing that sucks. You're like, we're in Voldemort's position. Can you just tell us
And
more?
then
Just...
John's like, what do you think? I'm like, oh, no.
I keep putting you guys through torture. I'm like, what do you think about things that you have no idea about?
You'd think I'd be good in situational questions.
Yeah. Okay, so Harry has a gamut of questions here that he asks, and I want to talk about some of his questions here. He says, and he saw himself, possessor of the Hallows, facing Voldemort, whose Horcruxes were no match. Neither can live while the other survives. Was this the answer? Hallows versus Horcruxes. Was there a way, after all, to ensure that he was the one who triumphed? If he were the master of the Deathly Hallows, would he be safe? So, a bunch of questions in that. But are Horcruxes no match for Hallows?
I feel like they're similar to some of them.
Similar?
Like the Resurrection Stone. It seems they're equal in a way to it.
Equal? How so?
Because it's like you have life in something. Like the Horcrux, he has his soul or life, or I still don't really fully understand it. In other parts and other items. Whereas the Resurrection Stone, you would have this stone that would have you come back to life to an extent. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, maybe
Does that
that's
not
the
make
kind of the difference. If you, like we're saying, the stone, the Resurrection Stone, someone else has to use on you, but the Horcruxes keep you tethered even if nobody does anything after your death.
Right, but if you had the wand, that's what I'm saying, like all three of them. Like I think the most similar would be the Resurrection Stone with the Horcrux.
And well, that's the thing then, like we had
But
been
then
wondering,
there's-
could the wand kill someone and all of their Horcruxes? Because it can't lose, so it has an ultimate win.
I hope so. That would be great.
Because isn't it kind of losing if you don't defeat the other person? Like, it's not a real win if they're like kind of surviving, right?
Yeah.
Like, isn't it to the death? So maybe.
What would you guys go after, Horcruxes or Hallows? What should Harry go after?
I like hope, so I feel like I would go after the Hallows.
Yeah. I think the Hallows.
Also, the Horcruxes, there's too much, like, there's still too many unknowns.
Yeah, exactly. They wouldn't even know where to start. If they had a really good lead on a Horcrux, I actually might say go for the Horcrux. But they don't. And they do have some leads on the Hallows. So
It already feels
like that's a
they
good one.
have maybe two of them. At least
Yeah. Oh,
one
yeah.
of
And that's
them.
the weird part. Harry's very confident he already has some. And I'm not as confident as he is.
Also, when you're going after those Horcruxes, it's not just getting the item. It's like this whole booby trap to get the item. So it's like you could kill yourself getting it. Whereas the Hallows, I feel like you'd have a better shot of surviving.
And we're just starting to get the idea that Dumbledore has paved the path to the Hallows. But maybe not the Horcruxes.
But he didn't say anything. That's what's so annoying.
He didn't really, but he did give them the symbol in the book. And
Is that enough?
Wow.
I don't know that it's enough, but it's more than he gave about Horcruxes. But he did tell Harry to hunt the Horcruxes.
Really?
Before. I mean, like,
Whoa.
it just
gave
feels
him all the. So this is
Yeah,
the
yeah,
one.
let's
You
hear it
guys
again.
are not on the same page for once. Wow.
So, though, I mean, it's okay. I'm going to say at this point in the book, you can be split 50-50. And I'm going to show you how I think it's split 50-50.
Yeah.
Is all up until this point, we didn't know what the heck the Deathly Hallows were up until 2 chapters ago. So
Yeah.
Dumbledore didn't give him a ton. But
Fair.
Dumbledore shows Harry all sorts of like the Horcrux hunt. He essentially shows him this thing. But the real rub, which is what Harry's going through, which is he's experiencing, is as soon as he finds out about the Hallows, everything seems to fall in place and make sense. So the question right now that you're getting, which I think is the same one, that's why like, it's just brutal because, at this point, I think he gave him a little bit more about Horcrux information. But maybe this chapter is the tipping point a little bit for like, okay. Maybe it's starting to make a little bit more sense to go after the Hallows rather than the Horcruxes, because there's this symbol in this book, which is really, unfortunately, the only thing that he got of that. But if there's one in the snitch, that's another like hidden thing. And Harry's thing is like, you have to be a seeker. You have to really like discover this on your own. Maybe Dumbledore is honoring that.
Well, also when you're talking about it, it plays into that he could read Harry's mind. So if he didn't know anything about the Hallows or believe it, if Dumbledore said something to him to confirm it, then Voldemort really has the Horcruxes and the Hallows.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Okay.
So maybe it makes sense that he didn't say anything to Harry, and Harry had to figure it out on his own with clues.
Maybe it does. I still keep thinking I wish he said more.
I'm on the same page. He said nothing about anything. Like
nothing about anything. Yeah, kind of.
It's kind of true.
And we're still kind of left wondering if there was anything else that was held back from these guys, Harry, Ron, and Hermione, from Dumbledore, because it all came through Scrimgeour. So none of it really lines up. So I'm almost forgetting about the Horcruxes. It feels so far like removed. And then this is like, oh, a lot of this stuff is making sense. Boom, 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 boom. These things are falling into place. But there's my actual thought though is that they're going to need all of them. And the weird part
all
too,
the Horcruxes?
Horcruxes and the Hallows.
Well, I think
because Voldemort's after the same thing too. So if you go after the Hallows, you're kind of competing with Voldemort. You go after the Horcruxes,
Voldemort
you might be on your own.
knows about the Hallows. I think he knows that there's a wand out there, but I don't think he believes because Harry said that he was in an orphanage too, and he never heard this poem or whatever, like child story until like now.
Okay, interesting.
And neither did Hermione, and then Voldemort would have been in that also.
I feel like this story was worth Hermione telling them earlier. At least the invisibility cloak. I feel like that should have stood out enough to her as they're in the tent for however long, over and over.
Yeah, but it didn't even affect
Harry, you know
her.
what's so weird? The invisibility cloak here is exactly like the one we use all the time. Now maybe they just thought invisibility cloaks were more normal because they're so used to it. They're desensitized to its like awesomeness, if it's the one. But I still feel like it warranted a mention. They're like, look, we have no clues from Dumbledore. There's something in this book. Let's just read through the whole thing. Do any of these stories have meaning? Hey, look, here's a story that mentions the thing we have. And Dumbledore is the one who gave it to you. And it came from your parents. And it's like, I just thought that felt a little bit not normal for
Hermione. Yeah, but
Hermione,
also it's because I don't know. Would you read it and really put that together?
You know what? That's part of the problem. Hermione read fairy tales and dismissed them so quick.
Yeah.
She never thought of them as being real. Meanwhile, I'd be reading everyone as it was real.
Or symbols and stuff.
Yeah,
so
you're
not
right.
really reading it. You're kind of like...
Because that is true.
Deciphering it.
Because the thing that she found was the mark, which is why she wants to go see Xenophilia. She doesn't care about the story.
Yeah, you're right. It was about the
Xenophilius
mark.
is the one that gives the story of it. That's a great point. So she's like literally sitting there, like reading it upside down, trying to like decipher all the little clues in it, and really the story's right there in front of them. Kind of has been the whole time.
Couldn't see the forest for the trees.
I know, exactly.
Yeah, it's a fair point. But I think in these chapters, they got the best piece of information, which it's vague enough, but solid enough, that Bellatrix is nervous about something else in the same vault as the sword. And that could be one of the Hallows or a Horcrux. So those paths have lined up. Or it could be neither. But it's something important. So in my mind, I'm like, all right, great. that's your next thing. Go try and steal that.
Well, they have a person. What is it called?
They have a person
That works at Gringotts. What are those?
Oh yeah, is
people?
Grip Hook their guy?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And then there was some
Goblins,
shady
yeah.
goblin
Now they have it.
that
That's in the next
they
chapter.
mentioned. Yeah, next chapter. Right, we can get to it. Good call. Keep us on track. Well done. But yeah, I do understand Harry's thought process, but Harry is he's jumping to conclusions a little too much, and he's so certain.
I would do the same thing though, because it's like
Agreed. They
there's,
haven't
like,
had much
no
to hold on
hope.
to
There's
recently.
nothing.
Yep.
There's no guidance, and like something starts clicking, and you just want to go for it.
Ron is coming up with outrageous things. He's like, upper flagellate. Maybe Voldemort wanted to live in that wizarding community. Let's go check it out. Let's go poke around.
Yeah.
Shut up. It's
Ron,
not there.
goodness.
But I mean, we'll talk about this in the next chapter. But we potentially got another dump of where a Horcrux might be. So I mean, a big question I think even in the next is going to be, what does Harry actually do? Does he follow the Horcrux path? Or does he abandon that and go down the Hallow path? And we'll see. But that's even like some of these lines that it says, even with what you're saying, Jen, with Voldemort not knowing really about this tale and really only seeking the wand. Because it says, he turned back on their strained, incredulous faces. He knew it was all the truth. It all made sense. Voldemort was not seeking a new wand. He was seeking an old wand. A very old wand indeed. Then Hermione says, Harry, this isn't a game. This isn't practice. This is the real thing. And Dumbledore left you very clear instructions. Find and destroy the Horcruxes. Which is why I said up until this point, it does seem like Dumbledore gave more instruction about Horcruxes. But that mark seems to change things a little bit. And the will that he gave seems to change things a little bit. And that symbol doesn't mean anything. Forget the Deathly Hallows. We can't afford to get sidetracked. So again, the question that hits you in this chapter is, what did Dumbledore really want? What did he want them to do?
That's so hard.
I know.
I don't even know. But someone said it on the radio too, that he would follow. He has really good instincts, Harry, and that he would except for
the next thing he did, but
yeah.
most of the time, good instincts.
So I wonder
On a deeper level.
But then I was thinking,
Kind of.
where's the prophecy fit into this? Because it's like, could it be that any decision you make leads you down this road anyway? Like, whether he's hunting a Horcrux or whether he's doing the Hallows, could it just be like, I don't know, like the prophecy is, what is it? Like, one cannot live without the, like, they're destined to, like, meet at the point, and like it seems like all magic is on either side, where like the dark magic's with Voldemort and good magic's with Harry. So like even his wand is like fighting for him without him having to do anything, or like that's why I was like wondering, regardless of what it's like the power, it's like so deep in Harry's like DNA or whatever that he is getting help from constant outside sources with magic. I don't know. That's not even making sense maybe, but
No, you're right. It's like his destiny kind of. But
and there were so many chances he could have died, but he didn't.
Yeah.
I know this is the story, but like
No, but you're right.
Just
and
wondering,
even in
could Harry
in the
even
next chapter,
die if it wasn't from Voldemort?
From Voldemort.
Like,
well, does the prophecy specifically say they have to kill the other, or just neither can live while the other like?
That's what I don't know.
Survives, lives.
Let's revisit the prophecy.
This
is so fascinating.
Because, yeah, I mean, either way, it feels like he's taking a step down that path. But Voldemort wants the two of them to meet in a very controlled environment where Voldemort captures Harry.
But he has not been able to defeat him every time. He's been very close.
But it also hasn't ended in death. So it's this weird thing of the prophecy not being fulfilled until like a bigger moment. And actually, come to think of it, the bigger moment, could it involve like a close? Because then it could open at the close, and then Harry gets the reveal of whatever is inside the snitch, and how does that play into things? And so it's all, let's say, like,
oh, like Harry dies, but then he has the stone because he has the snitch on him, and then he is resurrected and kills Voldemort.
You're saying the resurrection stone is the ring, and you think it would still work too?
I don't know.
Like, if there was a Horcrux in the resurrection stone, and then the Horcrux was killed by Dumbledore, would the stone still work?
Yeah,
and
it's
how
magic.
do you kill the stone?
Magic.
Ancient magic.
I was just about to say it.
But the magic that killed the Horcrux didn't kill the stone, according to the
And also, it makes me think, remember Dumbledore kept saying that Voldemort doesn't know anything about ancient magic. Wouldn't this Hallows thing
Wait, is that what he said?
be ancient magic? Yeah, he said something along those lines.
Because I was thinking it was more about he didn't understand, like,
The
ancient magic, but in the form of love. Like, I was leaning more about the love, but you're saying even the ancient magic, because I forget how it was worded, but Voldemort doesn't really understand
ancient, I would think.
Yeah, it would have to be pretty ancient, but not so ancient that you can't trace the line. Kind of.
But I also feel like you have Voldemort wouldn't believe maybe this stuff, would he? Because it seems fairy tale.
And you think he wouldn't believe it? Maybe.
He's more like illogical.
Okay, maybe a follow-up question to all this is, who is the owner of the Elder Wand?
Great question.
Great question. Where is it?
Where
is it still around? Who owns it?
I feel like Dumbledore had it.
Why?
Because I think Grindelwald, whatever his name, is that right?
Grindelwald, yep.
Okay.
Depending on who you're going to talk about, but yes.
I feel like he had it because he stole. It seems as though he was the one that stole it from Grigorovich.
Nice.
Whoa, I
You're
got
cruising.
it right for the first time
Nice.
ever. I feel like Grigorovich had it. I already forgot his name. I cannot.
You're saying Grigorovich had it,
Yeah.
Grindelwald stole it.
Yes. But then with this whole battle between Dumbledore
got it.
Yeah. But like secretly got it. So like no one knows that he has it.
Okay.
And he's either hid it somewhere, gave it to someone, or Harry has to discover it in a hiding spot, which is also hidden. Crazy.
But I actually believe Grindelwald when he said, I never had it.
Oh, that's right.
And remember, you said you had a theory about Polyjuice. What if Dumbledore used Polyjuice to look like Grindelwald to steal it so that it would distract everyone with Grindelwald, but Dumbledore actually had it?
Yeah. Okay, that was my thing. I like that.
But then
go with whatever he says.
It still
That's
feels.
what I said last time.
Yeah, you get the credit.
At the
It's your
live
theory. I like the Polyjuice.
But I
That
needed
theory.
works.
a reminder.
You know what I was trying to think of?
I need the
wanted
credit.
Harry to be the rightful wielder of the wand. And I was trying to think, because here's the problem. We think whoever picks up the wand could be the rightful owner. That's what we were kind of saying. We're like, yeah, because you're kind of like, you steal it from someone when they're sleeping and stuff, but then does it become yours? And then who does Harry have to defeat to get the wand? And how is he going to defeat them if it can't lose? He's got to steal it or do something sneaky. And let's imagine Dumbledore was smart enough to plan this all out. How does he plan for Harry to get this wand? That's the part I don't understand. Because it's like, it seems like Dumbledore set these things up. He's got little riddles and stuff and clues and books, and he's like giving them all this stuff. I'm like, well, where's the wand? And how does Harry end up with it? Or that's why I was saying the other day, the theory of, what if Harry already has it? But then his wand broke, and it couldn't be that. And Ollivander's around, so is it hidden somewhere? Is it?
But but now we get to talk to. Well, it's the next chapter too.
Has Harry already defeated Voldemort? Like 5 or 6 times with his own wand? Does he even need the Elder thingy? I don't know. So I think I'm just like, who owns it now? That's the part I just don't quite get. Then I'm like, would it be a curveball thing?
Who owns it now?
Like, could Aberforth have ended up with it? What if the owner dies of natural causes and it was Ariana? And then someone could come along to her grave and grab it. So then when Grindelwald steals it, he had a little romance with her. And it was like we had speculated about that before. Then somehow she can get it. But then if she dies as the owner, Grindelwald, Dumbledore, they agree not to mess with it. And he's trying to guide Harry on a path to her or something. Or maybe it really was Dumbledore's. And then Harry's got to go to his grave and do something there.
This is such a far-fetched theory. It's crazy.
Nice.
What if Snape has it?
How?
Because
The Elder Wand. Dumbledore trusted him, and he has the wand. And is this crazy? I know. But I'm just going down for a second.
wait, has the wand.
Yeah, so that way he could eventually defeat Voldemort, which now, as I'm saying, it doesn't even make sense because why would he have killed Dumbledore? But maybe he didn't really kill Dumbledore because then he can resurrect him. So maybe Snape is still good.
You're really holding out hope for that one. You know what? For a second, you had me though, because
trusted him so much that I thought maybe you can like a double agent where like you. What is it? I don't know the terminology, but like he kills Dumbledore, but maybe he didn't really kill him, and then he is on Voldemort's side.
You want this resurrection stone to work on Dumbledore so bad. So
wait, so when did? Maybe the question is, can you hand someone the Elder Wand? Can they just take it? How would Snape have been the rightful owner of the Elder Wand? Oh, because he killed him.
Well, that's what I'm saying. If you kill someone, do you become the rightful owner? And then you are the owner until somebody kills you?
Or maybe Snape has it because Dumbledore had it.
I was wondering if Dumbledore never told anyone he had the wand, and Snape kills Dumbledore, becomes the rightful owner of it without even realizing it, and then the wand is somewhere rightfully Snape's. But then
he put it in the vault.
And then Bellatrix is worried that...
in the vault.
But that would mean he knows about the wand. And I'm speculating he wouldn't know about it, because why wouldn't he have used it then to kill
maybe it was
Dumbledore?
Dumbledore's wand. And he just is like, oh, let's just keep that for later.
You know, my other theory was that Dumbledore... Somehow it was arranged that James Potter got the wand. Then, when James Potter left the wand on the couch when he was playing with Harry, Voldemort comes in, kills him before he can get to his wand. The wand didn't lose. Voldemort killed him. Voldemort became the rightful owner of the wand in that moment. Then Voldemort goes upstairs, attacks Harry, but not with the right wand, not with the undefeatable wand. Harry defeats Voldemort, becomes the rightful owner of the wand that Voldemort just became the rightful owner of downstairs.
This is so.
But the problem is then where would the wand go? And again, all of that's just fun to theorize the chain of command or chain of custody, but it still doesn't feel true to the story. The story feels like it's more of whoever is holding the wand is the rightful owner. That's kind of how it feels in the story. It's like you get the wand by whatever fiendish means. And maybe it'd be nice to have something to sink our teeth into, because right now it feels vague. It feels like if you're holding the wand, you're the rightful owner. Whether you locked your father in the basement and he dies eventually, or whether you stole it from your brother while he was sleeping and then slit his throat, like when you grab the wand, it becomes yours. But it's telling that all those people did die.
It is almost, I would probably equate it maybe most similarly to the Ring of Power and how it passes down from person to person. Potentially, it might have a mind of its own and wants to be passed down to a stronger witch or wizard. There is a possibility like that maybe it seems like that at this point. But also, maybe not like that at all. There's also a possibility where it just pledges its allegiance to whatever strongest being it thinks. So if someone overthrows the previous master, no matter really how they overthrew the previous master, that wand pairs itself with a new person, and it takes all the powers from all the previous people, and then finally like leads up to the next person. So the wand is obviously immensely powerful for everything else.
So it really
That's
just
why
goes
I
to
keep
the
thinking
next.
of surrendering with Gregorovic. No, Grindelwald. That's surrendering to Dumbledore.
Yeah.
Made Dumbledore get the wand.
But you know what else is
And
weird,
I don't know
though?
if I believe what he was saying to Voldemort. I
Okay,
never had it.
that's fair. I do kind of believe it.
I
but
know,
I
'cause
like-
that's your theory.
But I do like that. But you know what else is weird, though? The strangeness of Dumbledore, Grindelwald, and, waving a white flag. With this thought process about the wand, the Elder Wand, it feels like that's not true power. Two friends ahead of time arranging that one's going to, wave a white flag to the other one. That doesn't show more power from one wizard. Unless the wand is that intelligent that it could just feel the power from Dumbledore. But then, I don't know. It feels a little bit strange for it to go that way. But I can't think of any other reason why Grindelwald and Dumbledore would fight and why one would wave the white flag. It just feels like that would make sense to pass the wand. But not 100%. It doesn't make me just be like, that's got to be it. It's like, it could be. But I feel like it's as likely there's another explanation. But I don't know what.
I'll think about it. Even in the next
Exactly.
chapter, we'll talk about this. What were you saying, Jen?
No, I just said exactly. Maybe one day we'll find out.
Maybe one day.
Maybe one day.
When they do start talking about Potterwatch, it's great. There's a few lines in here that are interesting, and there's a few lines that are funny. And they say, but before we hear from Royal and Romulus, Lee went on, let's take a moment to report those deaths that the Wizarding Wireless Network News and Daily Prophet don't think important enough to mention. It is with great regret that we inform our listeners of the murders of Ted Tonks and Dirk Cresswell. And then Lupin says this on air, where he says, I'd tell him we were all with him in spirit, said Lupin, then hesitated slightly. And I'd tell him to follow his instincts, which are good and nearly always right. Which you guys made almost a mock of in the last live read.
We didn't mean to
are
mock
his
him about
instincts
it,
really
but-
always right?
Well, he did go charging into the ministry with a bunch of school kids.
Literally the next
Spirit.
chapter.
Getting
too.
tricked
Yeah.
by Voldemort, and then immediately proves us right by using Voldemort's name and getting them all captured.
And the next chapter, all of his assumptions about Stan Shunpike, all of his instincts about Stan Shunpike seem to be wrong, because they're like, oh yeah, Stan Shunpike's
that's
feeding
true.
us people right now, You're like, Stan might not have been the good person that you always thought he was.
Not Harry also released a ton of people from the cellar.
So you're saying his instincts are so good, they are the greater good.
Yeah, exactly.
It wasn't.
Poor Dobby.
It's not that it goes smoothly. Well, see, that's even the weird part. Again, the greater good, and I believe that Dobby would have done it exactly the same way, knowing how it was going to end. So,
If he knew, yeah.
because it's the greater good, and so, yeah, I guess I could get behind that a little bit.
That's why I keep saying the prophecy thing. It's like things just, however chaotic or straightforward, they line up in Harry's favor.
Right.
Well, it is Harry Potter.
Yeah. It kind of just works out for him in some ways. But there is this hilarious line that you have too.
Disagree.
No, I agree.
There is this hilarious line that we have. It says, and the rumors that he keeps being cited abroad, asked Lee. Well, who wouldn't want a little nice holiday after the hard work he's been putting in? Asked Fred. Point is, people don't get lulled into a false sense of security thinking he's out of the country. Maybe he is, maybe he isn't, but the fact remains he can move faster than Severus Snape confronted with shampoo when he wants to.
God.
So don't count on him being a long way away if you're planning on taking any risks. I never thought I'd hear myself say it, but safety first. This is such a great line.
So great. A great casual
I know.
dig.
Shampoo
Just like,
thing?
I know.
As fast as Snape would run away from a bottle of shampoo.
yep.
This is an all-time good line.
His hair is disgusting.
Yeah, it's nasty.
He just doesn't have time to wash.
Doesn't have time. Yeah. I just imagine there's a spell that makes it easy,
He's
but maybe
potions
not.
guy. Come
I
on,
know.
just create something that's
Scourgify
never
his hair
greasy.
or something.
wow, can you imagine? He works for L'Oreal on the
I
side.
know,
You
that's what I was
know?
thinking.
Potions master. You know, he's a chemist for
I was like,
L'Oreal.
imagine something you put on as like a whole month. You don't have to wash your hair.
Wow,
That's why he's like really theorizing about this
Oh
stuff,
my
and that's why his hair is
Ugh.
nasty, so he can like run experiments.
he's
on
always
his own hair.
testing. Yeah,
So
exactly.
gross.
You ever seen the movie Holes or read the book Holes? It's like the
Yeah.
dad with
That
all
just
the,
came up. I love
No way,
that
it's
movie.
a great one. The dad with all the shoes and how they invent sploosh.
Sploosh.
Oh, it's so good.
Oh, yeah.
Me and Joey were talking about it the other day.
Oh, I
That
didn't-
doesn't get referenced often enough because I love
Yeah.
that movie.
It is one of the all-time great movies.
Yep.
So good.
And book. I did read that book.
Mm.
Wow.
You're a
First-time
reader.
readers.
Look at you.
All right. Any other points in this chapter before we go into Malfoy Manor?
One. I didn't even read my margins because I got a little lost. I was so distracted. But the line you just read of what Lupin said to them, "We're all with you in spirit." It feels like he's giving Harry a hint at the Dumbledore like moral support, which is whatever happened in the mirror, the eye.
The help when he asked for help.
Yeah, just a little bit like that, or whether it was Dobby or like Lupin just kind of saying, look, like, again, we're realizing there's more going on here, even with he uses Voldemort's name and they know where he is. Well, great. Maybe just narrate a little more out loud, and if you need help, you say it. And like, I don't know, whatever it is, but like it feels like his voice means something now. I don't know how, if it would be Harry directly or just anybody, but if they're harnessing the same power Voldemort is, at least Dobby was, then it feels like that could mean something. But either way, he spoke out loud that he needed help and he got help, and so he should keep that
Interesting.
trend going.
Yeah.
he should.
Communicate.
Cautiously, since Voldemort's using these tools as well. But yeah, he should.
That's good. I like it.
But yeah, oh yeah, come to think of it, you have to be careful with your buzzwords too, though, because then if they're ever close to something, like let's say the name of a town while they're looking for like a Horcrux, I'd be like, do not say the name of that town, because Voldemort could have his ears, piqued by the spoken word of something. If you speak the name of some cave or some town or some like weird thing connected to one of his fiendish things. So they got to be careful with what they say, but they should say more.
Yeah. Agreed.
All right, let me see. I think that might be it.
All right.
Yep.
Chapter 23, Malfoy Manor. Want to give me a quick summary of this? I could just do the summary
He's
tonight.
still reading his margin.
Yeah, just in case,
I'll do a quick summary of this before. If you have anything else, read your margins.
Okay, yeah. I'm getting one thing and you keep going.
Okay, so Malfoy Manor is essentially outside of the tent. They get captured by Snatchers. The Snatchers then recognize that it might be Harry Potter. They're kind of convinced of it. So rather than take him to the Ministry, they take him to Malfoy Manor. And in Malfoy Manor, they're about to report it, thinking that it's Harry Potter. Bellatrix walks in. She's about to touch her dark mark. And then all of a sudden she doesn't and freaks out because she sees the sword. And then she puts them into the dungeon, tortures them. Dobby shows up because Harry looks into the mirror and sees something there. Dobby shows up, rescues Dean, Ollivander, and Luna. Then Harry and Ron, Wormtail ends up, killing himself because of the hand. Poetic justice. They run upstairs. There's a whole rescue mission that happens. Dobby saves the day. They apparate away to Shell Cottage, but Dobby tragically passes away at the end of this chapter. Well, there's a lot more things we'll talk about, but that's the gist of it. Now, there is one line I want to talk about. This chapter is a really action-packed and fun chapter because it goes back and forth between Harry's perspective. He's like learning occlumency. He's not. He's flirting back and forth between the two. But it says this: the emaciated figure stirred beneath its thin blanket and rolled over toward him, eyes open in a skull of a face. The frail man sat up, great sunken eyes fixed upon him, upon Voldemort, and then he smiled. Most of his teeth were gone. So, you have come. I thought you would, one day. But your journey was pointless. I never had it. You lie. So the question: what are they talking about? Did he really have it, or is he lying?
True, we didn't get actual clarity
Yeah.
for sure on what this is.
Yeah.
We just jumped to conclusions so quickly.
I think it's the wand.
So we're saying this is Voldemort,
He's been
at
on
the
a
top
hunt
of the
for a
tower of this
wand for a
prison.
while.
and this is Grindelwald in the prison he designed himself, that we're hoping was for good, but Crumb thinks was for evil or whatever. And we're thinking Voldemort got there, found him, and is saying, where is the wand? And then what we've speculated in the past is that it could be any of the Deathly Hallows. Mm-hmm. But in theory, it could be even more broad than that. It could be something else Voldemort needs as part of a step on a journey. So we don't know, but
Harry's convinced that he's going after the wand.
Yep. And it would make so much sense because of Grigorovich and like he's a wand maker. What else would he have? And then the last clue that Voldemort saw was Grindelwald jumping out of the window at Grigorovich's shop with something in his hands. So, I mean, it feels like a pretty straightforward idea. And like you said, Polyjuice could be a solution, whether it's Dumbledore or someone else pretending to be Grindelwald, or whether it was not the wand, but something else, the stone or the cloak even. Because what if Grindelwald had the cloak? You know, it could be a family line. He could be a Peverell, something else. It could not be Grindelwald. It could be somebody else. I don't know who.
Polyjuice.
It's Polyjuice Dumbledore there.
Wow.
It's like a party crouch. It's not like snatch between the two. Really, Dumbledore has been Grindelwald this whole time. If he has the wand, who do you think, is he actually lying here? Is he saying that because this is Voldemort? Like, one interesting thing in this, which is kind of nice, is he doesn't seem scared of Voldemort.
True.
And every other person has been terrified whenever Voldemort's come around. So he doesn't seem scared of him.
True.
But who's telling the truth here? Is he lying, or is he telling the truth about he never owned it? And then again, the question that you come up with is who actually owns it?
No one owns it. It just keeps getting passed down.
Well, yeah,
Just
no one
floating
owns
around?
it, but who is the
I'm
current
just-
holder of it?
Because whoever the holder is has the power. I know.
Maybe, kind of. That jury's still out on that one.
Because I was like, what if it's just it has a mind of its own? It's Death's wand. Because Death created it.
And it wants to kill. So it goes to whoever's going to kill with it.
I'm just like throwing out things without really processing.
That's the best way to do it.
Yeah, no, it's good. Let it fly. I believe him. You don't necessarily believe him.
Yeah.
If it's Grindelwald, if it's the wand.
I like my theories. So it ruins it if he's telling the truth.
Yeah. It
theory
makes
is
it
fascinating,
harder to figure out what's going on if it's not him. A few quick things in the previous chapter.
Oh, okay.
But one of them leads to that. But maybe I'll do it in reverse. All right, I'll start with Hagrid being on the run after a support Harry Potter party, which I thought was cute, and I'm glad he's on the run. Curious where he's going and if Eminem's with him.
I forgot about that. That's his nickname.
Then, Madame Maxime. And then also,
wait, I was thinking of his brother.
his brother is with him, according to
Grop.
this. Like, I think that's how he was able to escape with Grop's help. The boy who lived, if I remember correctly, in the Hunger Games, she's the girl who lived. And I'm curious if that was, who's the author? Suzanne Collins. I'm wondering if she was a Harry Potter fan and was referencing this as a little bit of a, hey, I like Harry Potter. So, and then the real reason to go back to the chapter is we had a little bit of a clue where Voldemort was because Harry got a blurry vision about a skull and a mountain.
Yeah.
And I'm just curious if that's ever going to be revealed a little more to understand what that means. Mountains, skulls. It might not be a skull. It could be something in the shape of a skull. I thought, what if it is the resurrection stone? It would make sense if a stone about life and death is in the shape of a skull. But that would be a bad sign because it means Voldemort has or is close to having that. So then this could be a different path than we think. It's not Grindelwald. It's not the wand. This is his quest for the stone. Then a mountain. Where? Is he out of the country? Probably. It seems like he is. But mountain's pretty vague. Anyway, back to where we are. Is he telling the truth?
I thought we...
It's also...
Real quick,
Ooh.
chat. Don't we know where we are right now?
That was such a vague thing.
Do we know
No.
where we are? In Voldemort's visions?
Has it been...
Because...
Yeah, Nemo, I think we know where we are. I think it's been vaguely referenced. I don't know if you're going to put them together.
The skull? Is it the... It's not the cemetery?
Well,
I'm just going to let it pass. But I think we kind of know where we are right now.
we kind of do. Okay,
Yeah.
good.
But it's
I don't.
so... Yeah, it's so obscure. I don't think it matters that
Let's
significantly.
see. Okay, yeah. Because it... I'm trying to think. Do I remember knowing? Not enough where I let it sink in. It almost felt like a vague idea.
Okay, I'm just going to say it.
And when you say where we are, you
Okay.
mean where Voldemort is?
Yeah,
in these
Hermione
visions?
talks about this. Hermione says that Grindelwald ends up there, which is where Grindelwald is right now, Nurmengard. It's a prison that he invented
Yes.
for the people that he thinks, and he ends up in his own prison, the prison that he
that's
created.
what he was saying.
Okay.
And
missed
so...
But we just didn't know the name.
Okay, gotcha.
But
He
do
did say the
we
name.
know
Yeah,
that
he
that's
did.
where Voldemort is, though?
Well, that's where Grindelwald
that's
is.
where
We
the
know
s-
that's where Grindelwald
that's
So
is.
where
that's
the
where we think he's
skull-
going.
Gotcha,
so the
gotcha,
skull is
yes,
probably the
yes.
prison that Grindelwald is in.
So yeah.
Oh,
he would
interesting.
design it like a skull. That's
Yeah.
classic Grindelwald. Goodness.
Classic. From everything we know of Grindelwald, he would definitely do it like it.
Okay, so shape of a skull could be his prison, sure.
But it's also
Up in a mountain
really
somewhere.
interesting. I feel like
Mountain in Grindelwald, Switzerland.
It really is.
Voldemort feels as though he cannot defeat Harry without this wand because he's on
Because he
this
can't.
hunt.
He stinks.
I know, that's what I'm saying. It's so crazy. Though.
They're
so
both trying to
true.
figure out how to defeat each other. They don't know how. They can't really touch each other.
The funny thing is, Voldemort's been trying. Harry's just been living.
lucky,
like,
yeah.
he's just there.
Yeah.
And Stupefy and Expelliarmus. And he is
Yep.
thriving.
Yeah.
He only needs a few spells.
Yep.
Wow, I'm such a nerd.
Yeah, nerd alert.
I remembered. I'm a nerd.
Yeah, it's a fascinating one. In this chapter, though, why doesn't Draco immediately identify them?
Oh,
That
I
little
love,
softy.
Yeah.
I love this side. Well, not love.
Yeah.
That's
Tolerable.
strong.
Yeah,
Tolerated.
it's an improvement from his hideous past.
Oh, I think it's like they're finally realizing there are consequences to things.
Yep.
And they are not in good favor with Voldemort, obviously. It came up very clear. So I feel like they're rescinding their honor to... No, what's like a battle term? Where like you don't want to follow them anymore.
Just like changing sides, like
Benedict Arnold.
Sure.
their turncoats.
Turncoats. There you go.
Maybe that's what I was thinking more. It's like they're too far in it, but they
don't know how to
want
get out.
to be in it.
And that is true.
Bellatrix is the only one. Like, they just need to kill her. There's 3 of them. Kill your sister, and then everything will be right.
Yikes. Yeah. But the problem is they're not really afraid of Bellatrix. They're afraid of Voldemort. So it's more than
What I'm
that.
saying is that they could hide behind... Well, I guess who wants to hide for your whole life?
Yeah, exactly.
Because she's the one that's pushing them to do stuff always.
Yeah,
And
true.
if
But
they
with fear
didn't
of
have-
Voldemort at the center of it. And they're just too scared to do anything different to act. But it gets back to the question you've been asking this whole time. Why does anyone follow Voldemort?
I don't know. He's having a
Fear,
vacation
power.
while everyone else is doing his dirty work.
Yeah, right.
That is so true.
But yeah.
I feel like no one gets rewarded, though, for good behavior or bad behavior, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
It's kind of true.
He like, I don't know. He bribes them with that. Oh, you'll be my right hand or whatever. Yet no one is.
You don't see anyone reaping the benefit. Yeah.
Even Bellatrix is like in love with him, but like, what has she gotten? From him?
Yep.
Yeah, she's still afraid of him though.
But that's what it's just blows my. It's just so crazy.
It is wild.
Yep.
Because the Bellatrix mentioned something like that in this chapter where she, like, you guys said that she like throws 200,000 galleons, like it's nothing at these guys.
Yep.
She's like, what does gold matter to me when she just cares about the honor of Voldemort? But doesn't Voldemort really give it to them? I don't know.
Does he even care? He doesn't care about anyone else. So it's like, why are you fighting his battles?
Yeah. Yep. Great question.
I hope I get an answer.
But I do feel like I don't know if I could forgive Mr. Malfoy. Oh, man. Actually, I just don't know where I'm at with them. But I'm happy that we're seeing a change now in the Malfoys. But it's just hard to picture real redemption from them.
Well, also like Draco, I felt like it was cool to be like a Death Eater, but once he's actually a Death Eater, he's like, oh, what did I sign up for?
The problem is, it's just that guilt thing. Like we know that he feels bad, but he still is responsible for Dumbledore's death because he let everyone into the castle. So it's like, yeah, I'm glad he's making up for it. That is good. I'm glad there's redemption.
Making up for it.
No, not making up for it, but I'm glad he's turning a little bit. But I'm still trying to keep that in mind of like all the bad from the past. Say, all right, he's still, it's a small step.
But I think it's interesting. He's living in his own.
Yep. He's experiencing the consequences of his actions. They all are.
Yeah.
Every day.
And then he might have been like, why did I do regret?
And I hope he does regret it. He should, for every reason.
He should have taken Dumbledore's side and been like, yes, get me out of this.
Yeah. Dumbledore was giving him that option.
Ugh.
Do you think that there's, again, we were talking about the redemption of them. Do you think ultimately that they're redeemable characters?
Who? The Malfoys?
Yeah.
I
Like,
would
if they
like
turn-
to say yes.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure.
Well, you know what's tough though? I'm not making like it doesn't apply across the board, but for Malfoy, there's a general like evenness to things. For Draco, I should say, since
like,
they're all the same last name. He caused murder. So in order for him to be just strictly speaking even, he needs to save a life, and possibly needs to give up his own life. Kind of like how Wormtail had like a debt. It's the same kind of thing where I'm like, Malfoy could be redeemed. For example, if Harry was going to be killed and it wasn't Dobby who jumped in the way and it was Malfoy, then I would say, wow, he's not around to enjoy his redemption, but that would redeem him to me. Because it'd be like equivalent. Saving a life after causing a death. So Mr. Malfoy, I don't know. Mrs. Malfoy, she could very easily be redeemed. I can't think of anything too blatant that she's done.
She was just dragged into this.
Yeah, kind of like she's not the best choice in men, not the best choice in sister.
But then I'm
either.
wondering if her sister was the one that got all of them into it.
Right.
Or was it Mr. Malfoy? Or was it Lucius Malfoy?
And in the movies, Lucius is worse than in the books because he tried to kill Harry Potter at the beginning.
Oh,
the end of the second movie or third.
Yeah.
When we like paused
The
it, and
movie?
he was trying to do Avada Kedavra, and then
You're like, what the heck is going on
Dobby
here?
stopped him because he had just
Yeah.
been set free.
That is movie. That's not canon.
Yes, exactly. So that's why in the movie, picturing him, it's a little different. But in the book, I'm trying to think, what did he do? A lot of things we don't like. Trying to get Dumbledore kicked out of being headmaster in one of the earlier books. He tried to get a bunch of things against Hagrid and Harry, and
to protect
he's
this
always
snake monster baby.
Yeah. I don't think we've seen him kill anybody though. He's been in a lot of the bad situations, doing a lot of bad
the
things.
Ministry of Magic trying to get the prophecy ball.
That's what I was picturing. Yep. He was the head of that crew.
We have another thing that we kind of confirmed too, but what was Bellatrix freaking out about? Or not that we confirmed that, but we theorized about it.
Yeah,
What is she freaking out about?
I'm gonna go see what I actually underlined. She was
love
grilling
this part.
Hermione.
Yeah, this is what she says.
Oh, nice.
She's like dead set on calling him.
Yep.
She stopped struggling. Her dark eyes fixed upon something Harry could not see. Jubilant at her capitulation, Lucius threw her hand from him and ripped open his own sleeve. "Stop!" shrieked Bellatrix. "Do not touch it. We shall all perish if the Dark Lord comes now." And she freaks out right there at that moment. Why would they all perish if the Dark Lord comes at that moment?
Because she saw the sword of Gryffindor right there, right?
Yeah.
So they would all perish. It might be an exaggeration. I don't know, but it seems like it's possible they were charged with keeping the swords safe.
Mm-hmm.
And so it sounds like she's saying maybe they promised their lives that they would keep the sword safe and they didn't. Or she's so convinced it's the sword and it's this other thing in the vault that is so high priority that she sees that and says, oh my goodness, they got in that vault, or something weird happened with it and they were able to get access to this other thing. But whether it's the sword directly or whatever else they're protecting, that it feels like that is life or death. That's how I was hearing it. Is that how you heard it when in the original read?
What?
Like just how scared Bellatrix was, and then in the end after the chapter, looking back, what was it that made you think she was so scared? Like what was the why do you think she was so scared of everything? Of Voldemort coming in this moment.
I didn't process it like that. The sword makes the most sense, probably.
And Harry tells Griphook, tell him it's a fake.
Well, isn't he still swollen at this point or no?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like,
But they seem pretty confident it was Harry by now. When they put him down in the dungeon, they're just like, yeah, it's Harry.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just saying that there was another thing. Maybe it was that like he wasted his time. It's not really Harry. But
Yeah.
Ron and Hermione are there, so it probably is.
Yeah. Which is another moment where we're talking about here, because so Ron and Hermione gets kind of like stuck up there with Bellatrix questioning, and then all of a sudden Ron and Harry go out into the dungeons. They meet all these people, and then it says Hermione's screams echoed off the walls upstairs. Ron was half sobbing as he pounded the walls with his fist, and Harry, in utter desperation, seized Hagrid's pouch from around his neck and groped inside it. He pulled out Dumbledore's snitch and shook it, hoping for he did not know what. Nothing happened. He waved the broken halves of the Phoenix Wand, but they were lifeless. The mirror fragment fell sparkling to the floor. He saw a glimpse of brightest blue. Dumbledore's eye was gazing at him out of the mirror. "Help us," he yelled at it in mad desperation. "We're in the cellar of Malfoy Manor. Help us." The eye blinked and was gone.
That's what makes me think something's a lie.
Oh yeah, he literally gave the specific instructions of where they are. That is very specific. And
It
is a blink a
blinked
yes?
and then left.
It's like in
It's a wink.
If an eye is all you got.
Also, Sirius Black did not have blue eyes. I've asked this before, right?
No.
No, he didn't. I don't remember what kind of eyes he had.
But his dad had blue eyes.
Who, Harry's?
Yeah. James
This could be
Potter.
James Potter.
Or did Lily?
Lily had green. I mean, we did talk about that. It could be the shape of Lily's eyes.
Oh yeah, almond. What'd they say? Shaped like a cherry, like a something, like
Oh,
some
God,
fruit
you
or
guys.
like
like a
food,
pear or
a
something.
pear-shaped eye.
Yeah.
So.
It's probably Dumbledore.
In my mind, the straight read is Dumbledore.
Guys,
But
Dumbledore's dead.
yeah, but he could have put
Is he, though?
something in the mirror.
But it was Sirius's mirror that he gifted.
Yeah, he gifted
Harry.
to him. But the mirror could have power. Like, I guess that's the thing. Like, objects have power. And even if it's not Dumbledore directly, or it's just like, again, things like love have power. Like, objects can do things, whatever it is. So you could have an object that just calls to the people who love you the most. I don't know how it could be something like that, but just in the wizarding world, a lot of things are possible. So this mirror, it's a broken shard of the full thing because it was in the bottom of his bag or whatever. It got like destroyed. But the mirror could be reaching out to Dobby, being the, something, a person loyal to him, or whatever it might be. But that's maybe why Sirius gave it to him, because Sirius might have viewed himself as, his, I don't know, whether it's closest relative or like
His
biggest
guardian
supporter,
or-
guardian. Yeah, any of these things. But then Harry doesn't have any of those anymore. Maybe Dobby is his next like closest ally. Maybe it has nothing to do with that. But for some reason, he's looking at a mirror and he gets help. The blue eye. His father, Dumbledore, just an eye of comfort. Not sure.
The straight read, I mean, I guess it does make sense because Dobby does seem to be in the possession of Dumbledore. Because Dumbledore owns the castle. Dobby, right, is at the castle. Is Dobby still at the castle? I guess that's a question. Is he doing something else?
He's free. He could leave, even if the other house elves are stuck working for Valdi now. Would he stay at Hogwarts? Well, that's the weird part, too. We don't fully get the Hogwarts significance. Why Dumbledore stayed at Hogwarts instead of being Minister of Magic. Was it just to watch Harry and talk to him like once a year? It feels like
they had such a strong relationship. They only talked once a year, but they're so good,
And it was strong in its own way, but then it also is weird that Voldemort wanted to be there to be a teacher. So the significance of Hogwarts is still foggy.
What do you think about the poetic justice, though, of Wormtail getting choked out by his own hand?
That is pretty poetic.
Yeah, it's pretty brutal.
It was brutal, though. It felt like really intense. I was like, oh, yikes. I had to hope that it was a force beyond like Voldemort just being like, that's worthy of death, because it didn't feel worthy of death.
Feels
or
like
again, if
ancient magic.
If it's life for life and Harry is owed that, I mean, I guess, but it just felt
There
intense.
is a shocking line in this too where it says his own silver fingers were moving inexorably toward his own throat. No! Without pausing to think, Harry tried to drag back the hand, but there was no stopping it. The silver tool that Voldemort had given his most cowardly servant had turned upon its disarmed and useless owner. Pettigrew was reaping his reward for his hesitation, his moment of pity. He was being strangled before their eyes. What do you think about Harry trying to save Pettigrew's life? Almost yet again.
It's classic Harry.
Yeah, I know.
But I do like it, actually.
I know, seriously.
It's...
He's not reveling in it. Like, he wants to save as many people as he can, even if the person's despicable. Like, honestly, Pettigrew is almost the most despicable character in this whole entire story, and Harry still is, like, trying to save him, which is a remarkable thing. pretty nuts.
Yeah, it is. It is so strange. And I think some of the things he does bother me, that it's still that same mindset of trying to save people.
Yeah.
But it bothers me. But this didn't bother me at all. This felt like, yes, it's the right thing to do.
Yep.
It felt so black and white that it was like, yes, you try and save him.
Yeah, for sure.
So good old Harry, even in a situation like this.
And then we have another line that this one was actually funny, and I had never thought about this in terms of like using multiple wands at the same time to cast a spell at someone, but this is a longer chunk, which is kind of funny. It says, at the last word, there was a peculiar grinding noise above. All of them looked upward in time, to see the crystal chandelier tremble. Then, with a creak and ominous jingling, it began to fall. Bellatrix was beneath it. Dropping Hermione, she threw herself aside with a scream. The chandelier crashed to the floor in an explosion of crystal and chains, falling on top of Hermione and the goblin who still clutched the sword of Gryffindor. Glittering shards of crystal flew in all directions. Draco doubled over, his hands covering his bloody face. As Ron ran to pull Hermione out of the wreckage, Harry took his chance. He leapt over an armchair and wrested the 3 wands from Draco's grip, pointing all of them at Greyback, and yelled, "Stupefy." The wolf was lifted off his feet by the triple spell, flew up to the ceiling, and then smashed to the ground. Does Harry now just have to collect a bunch of wands? And
just wrap them all together. You got a mega wand right there.
I know. It's like, yeah, mega wand, exactly. That's all he needs to do. When I read that passage, I was like, you know what? Harry just needs to go around the country getting as many wands as he can, and then put all of it into one big Expelliarmus.
Yeah, just a big old spello tape. You just get this whole thing going, you know.
It's so funny, but it is like a tragic, heroic ending for Dobby. Like, he's doing this little thing.
Yep,
it's so great.
Yeah. And it felt sloppy to me when Bellatrix had the knife to threaten Hermione, since there are so many spells that would do it better. But then again, for moments like this, with thinking Silver has some kind of extra power, it just seems crazy. And for Dobby to go out like that,
I know. Those are the tragic passages that come at the end. So we'll talk about this, or we'll just raise a glass to Dobby, and then we'll talk about some of our favorites and stuff like that. But it says, the tiny elf trotted into the room, his shaking finger pointing at his old mistress. "You must not hurt Harry Potter," he squeaked. "Kill him, sissy," shrieked Bellatrix. But there was another loud crack, and Narcissa's wand, too, flew in the air and landed on the other side of the room. "You dirty little monkey," bawled Bellatrix. "How dare you take a witch's wand? How dare you defy your masters?" "Dobby has no masters," squeaked the elf. "Dobby is a free elf, and Dobby has come to save Harry Potter and his friends." A great moment. And then later, when they are disapparated, it says, "Dobby, no, don't die, don't die." The elf's eyes found him, and his lips trembled with the effort to form words. Harry Potter. And then with a little shudder, the elf became quite still, and his eyes were nothing more than great glassy orbs, sprinkled with light from the stars they could not see. Raise a glass to Dobby. My drink is already done, but the Dobby death is just a sad moment in this chapter, or in these in this whole book. It's just a tragic little thing. Yeah. Yep. And I mean, this is also for Dirk Cresswell and Ted Tonks too. I know. Know. And Gornak, who also died. A goblin, you got to raise her. And a Muggle family. Let's raise our glass to the Muggle family. Of 5. And you know what? That also felt a little fishy. It was just the fact that it was brought the attention, the Muggle family of 5, and the number. That I was just like, is this going to come back around? Well, we'll see. But either way, might come back around. That family is going to hold the key to everything. I love how powerful Dobby is, though. Yeah, right? Just like wordless magic, just like disarming people. I remember you said that in the way beginning, where you thought elf magic was almost stronger than wizard magic in some way. But it's interesting how little wizards count on elf magic. Like, they discount it so much. They think it's so insignificant. And all of a sudden, Dobby's snapping his fingers. Like, he snaps, and then all of a sudden, this wand flies across the room. Yep. Wandless magic. That's, like, insane. he can apparate places that wizards can't apparate, mainly because the Malfoys probably think that he's lesser than, and they wouldn't even care for him to apparate in and out. But it is astonishing how great Dobby is at these moments.
Yeah. Yep.
It's powerful.
And I think it's also weird, just the whole elf thing in general. It feels like it takes a lot to get an elf angry.
Yeah.
So then in something like this, you might be one of the few times you actually see a taste of the full power, so to speak.
Exactly. Yep. Yeah, for sure. Anything else in this chapter before we wrap up on our favorites?
Just a brief thing from the last chapter. The chapter picture had a raven or a bird of some kind, and it never came around. I'm like, what was the bird in their tent? Whose bird is this? Is this Pigwidgeon? I don't think so. It never mentioned a bird that I know of. Whose bird? What's the deal? Because it was on a lamp. It was very distinct. The chapter picture wasn't that big, and there was a bird. But from what I recall, it wasn't mentioned. So I was just a little bit like, what is this? Whose bird is this? What's the deal?
Let me check it out real quick.
So I kept waiting for a conclusion, never came, and then, oh shoot.
Sockeye on the couch? It's all right. Wes will lick that up and he'll love it.
I don't think Wes is going to be into whiskey.
Oh, whiskey?
Yes. Well,
oh, a lot of whiskey over there.
That's talking with your hands.
I'll get for balancing my whiskey on my phone.
I thought you dropped on your phone. I was like,
nah, that'd be okay.
I mean, they both would not be good.
It's hard because the chapter is called The Deathly Hallows, so it's not even just giving me like chapter art for just the chapter. It's giving me the entire book.
I'll bring it over and I'll show you.
Oh yeah, I see it now. Here we go. It's like a raven atop the lamp.
Yep.
Or you could have just taken my book.
Interesting.
It just feels very intentional and specific, and so far the chapter pictures have actually been pretty good. Like, not just pretty good, they've been like, oh yeah, this is, you can get clues from there. So anyways, I thought
Oh yeah, you were obsessed with this raven from the beginning.
yeah, I'm obsessed with it, you know. Well, I was excited because it looked like a raven, and we haven't seen much with ravens, but ravens give Ravenclaw, and ravens, they feel magical. Yeah. Even though we don't get a lot from them.
Agreed.
So anyways, I was a little bit excited, but then the fact that it never came up, I was like, oh.
The shade topper.
Yeah, it's just a cool shade topper. Honestly,
I don't think so.
I looked at that; it was in the top of the thing, and I was like, it could legitimately.
All right,
just
that's
be
a fair
topper,
point. I didn't view it that way,
but it's pretty cool shade topper. It's very pronounced though, which is interesting. It's like the thing that your eye goes to quickest.
But it is while they're in the tent.
Yeah.
So it could be.
You know, all right, that's a fair point. It could just be a fancy old lamp, but
I hope you're right. And it's something crazy.
It is right in the center. Like, it honestly could be, but it's
interesting.
It draws the eye too much to be so casual. Well, although, come to think of it, I don't even know. Wait, what are they even? What's the box
radio?
again? The radio? They're trying to tune it. Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
But then, Bellatrix is throwing the dagger in the Malfoy Manor.
Yeah,
of course.
Yep.
Because the picture does say a lot.
With the chandelier hanging.
I know. She looks maniacal. She's real weird.
But Dobby, man, he really came through in that chapter.
Yep.
Dobby.
I was even thinking, what about Creature? Why aren't they all?
I know. You mentioned that during the live read. That would have been actually really interesting.
They could have had both.
I know.
And I would be yelling at them if Creature betrayed them. I would have been like, what are you, crazy? Bringing him in a place like this? Because, we're worried about Bellatrix having some kind of,
on Creature.
But all the same, you're right. Because if they're desperate enough, you call Creature in. And maybe don't say everything, but just be like, Creature, we need your help. Do this right now, And they didn't even think to try. Good thing Dobby was there, but...
I know. They definitely trust Dobby more. But Creature is... proving himself to be trustworthy.
But they're not even using him now. Who cares?
I know.
If they're tracking him.
Yeah, right?
Well, maybe not right now. But like in this moment.
I still wish they just had called him earlier on when they left. It's like for the plot and the story. But like as soon as they disapparate, I'm like, the first thing you do, call Creature. He could have been catching you like plimpies and all sorts of fish and like
Yeah.
you guys great dinners. Ron wouldn't have left. That's the whole thing. If they called Creature, they would have been saved. All right, I think as far as favorite character, I'm definitely giving it to Dobby in this one for his heroism here.
Oh yeah.
He saved the day in many
absolutely.
ways.
Yep. So Dobby is like an easy one for this one of the easiest ones I think we've ever given for favorite character.
Yep.
And then who's your hot tamale? If you have a hot tamale.
Oh yeah. I feel like there wasn't a lot of that here.
Fred.
Yeah.
On the radio.
Nice on the radio,
great.
real spicy. But I did think it was very cute, like the emotion out of Ron when Hermione was being tortured. It's not standard hot tamale stuff, but it was still very touching,
That's a good idea. He was very protective of her.
Yeah.
He was like literally convulsing. He like couldn't. Harry's like, shut up and think for a second.
Yeah.
Stop
Like
screaming."
he couldn't even think in that moment.
Yeah.
So yeah, I thought that was
I
good.
like that. I'm saying Luna is my hot tamale because she just shows like unabashed. I don't know what the word is. Like she's not fearful. She's just, I guess, courageous, brave in this whole situation. And she like goes and is kind. She's been kind to this old man. She's like talking to Ollivander like very respectfully.
That's why she would have survived in Azkaban.
I know. Agree. I think that's why she comes full circle. That's why she would have survived in Azkaban. I just really like her in this chapter. I think she's great. She shows a lot of moxie. That's the word.
Nice.
What's your guys' favorite moment?
Dobby to the rescue.
Yeah, those were big moments.
Kristen phoned in and said her favorite moment was the Potterwatch.
Yeah, listening to the radio, hearing all those familiar voices. That makes the heart swell, That was great to read.
It does make the heart swell, and then literally right next to it,
immediately
you're like, oh great, we had one of the greatest moments in the book so far, and then followed by the worst. You're like, are you kidding me? You can't just get a moment of peace.
Yep. But it was, especially looking back, things were so simple. Nobody was dying yet. You're just you're hearing familiar voices, and like it felt very nice.
Yeah.
So I get that moment. I'm trying to think if there were other ones that had a bigger impact. A lot of suspense, a lot of chaos. I like the quick action stuff.
The Dobby moment is my favorite because it did make me tear up when I read it this afternoon. With his death. It is so tragic reading that. And like, yeah, you go from me being really annoyed at Dobby at the beginning of this entire series to like being pretty devastated at his death. Some people say this is like the most devastating death in the entire series, even more than Dumbledore's.
Yeah.
Which is just, Dobby's just the best.
Yeah. Yep. It feels funny to say my favorite moment because it's like not favorite, but yeah, it feels like the biggest, hitting. The most important moment, the most memorable moment of these chapters for sure. Well, thanks for joining us on our journey of Harry Potter and the First Time Readers. Until next time. Woo!
That's my thing.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. I was filling in. And now we get to look at the chapter picture. Whee!
Okay, so there is a little bit of not debate, but we could do one of two things for the next two. The next two are the calm before the storm, and I'll just spoil that a tiny bit for you. They're like they're like information process chapters, and then literally the last 10 chapters are every chapter's a storm. The storm is coming, and it just is unrelenting for 10, 11, 12 chapters.
Yeah.
So
that's so little.
I know. So if you guys want, we can there's like split decision. We could just do a live read in the next two and just keep the pace up, or you guys could read these two on your own and then we can just do another discussion of the podcast. And as soon as we discuss those 2 chapters, then we can literally listen to the next chapter right after that. So this chapter, the next one is going to be 24. So we would do a discussion of 24 and 25. You guys would just read these on your own. And then as soon as that one is over, we could do like on a Saturday morning or something like that.
Yeah, so we do the discussion.
Yeah, so the discussion. Yeah, discussion. And then we would do a live read of just chapter 26 right after.
I do like that.
And then that's how we'd probably do it from that point on. So we do a listen of that chapter. And then the next time we meet, we would discuss chapter 26 and then do a live read of 27.
Yeah,
and so
I like
the podcast
that.
Episodes would probably be limited to like an hour. They wouldn't be longer than an hour after that because we'd just be discussing one chapter at a time. So it would go, and then the live reads would be like 30 minutes or so. So that is kind of the rough plan, but we're not free this weekend, but we can do maybe sometime like next week we can do a listen to of a...
Yeah.
Or just a discussion of it. But if you guys want to keep doing the live read thing, if that just works.
I do think it works. It's nice.
Yeah.
But if this is our last chance to do a classic read, then that also works pretty well.
Yeah.
And then I think it puts us back into the rhythm of then, record, live read, read, and just cruise. So as long as that's cool with you.
Yeah, I think so.
Any thoughts or opinions on chat for YouTube? What do you guys think we should do?
This next chapter picture is not looking good, Jen.
We already know who this is.
What is the next chapter?
Oh,
The
interesting.
Wandmaker.
You're right.
What do you think it was?
Well, in my head, we already have Dobby's grave, which is on the beach.
Oh.
And so, because the picture is of a grave, but the chapter is called The Wandmaker. So I'm like, no, I don't want to say goodbye to Ollivander next. And I was like, but it's all right. It could still be Grigorovich or something, someone else. But maybe that's Shell Cottage in the back of the picture, and this is it. And then the ocean is that way.
Except
We'll go with that.
Okay, yeah. Anyways, what was your question, John? Oh, you're asking chat, like give a good rhythm.
Everyone's kind of okay with what we're gonna do, so
okay.
everyone's flexible.
cool.
So let's just do the next 2 on your own, and then we'll all go from there.
Nice.
The last 2 you'll read on your own.
Whoa,
It's exciting.
Or listen to. I know. I can't believe we're like almost done with this.
Yeah.
It's gone slow, but it's gone fast.
Slow but fast.
Fast at the same time.
Yep.
All right, everyone. Thanks for joining. We'll see you guys at our next live stream, which will probably just be a discussion. So have a good night.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
I'm going to get another paper towel. Sorry, John.
Don't worry about it.